Coffee, folks, with Maddog Merv. Yeah, you get the unedited coughing, all sorts of other, version of me right now. Wow. What a week. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Today's overcast. We we have been in the 60s and lower 70s this week, but some unsettled. Hey, good morning, Chris. How are you, buddy? Hopefully you didn't go to Loics yesterday. That was not my fault. He dropped the ball on that. That's Loic 100%. And yes, he and I are going to have a word of prayer when he gets back from whatever he's doing this weekend. Because we talked about it, I want to say Monday last week, that he had something come up, wasn't going to be able to make it, and ask if maybe we could do it the next weekend. And my friend Mark can't. He's busy next weekend. And I think I'm kind of busy next weekend too. So I told Loic, he probably better not. He says, well, could you and I just run it? And I said, Loic, I am caring for an elderly person right now. I'm glad you didn't waste your time, because I got 3 calls from people yesterday that went over there, and there was nobody there. Anyway, so I said, Loic, I'm caring for an elderly person, and I don't know my status from day to day right now. So if you want to do it next weekend, great. And if I'm not there, you're all alone. But I need to talk to him about, I've got a key to the place. It's just I can't ring people up because I don't have access to the computer, and I need to talk to him about that, so that when he has things come up like the last few months, one of us, myself, more than likely, would run the Saturday open house. So I'll talk to him, and we'll see what he says. But hey, it's good to see you folks here. That's my second sip. Oh my gosh, that is so good this morning. Wow. But we are expecting maybe a little bit of rain and unsettled for the next few days, but still fairly warm, So springtime is here, and it's well planted, and the grass is green, and all the little cute pinwheels that we put up in the yard, the grandkids put up, are blowing like crazy. So no shout out this week, although I am going to mention something for those of you who have other platforms like TikTok. And sometimes you'll see some of this guy's work on YouTube, but I think his name is Juan Sanchez, Juan something, and I think it was Sanchez, but anyway, he goes under the moniker of Illuminustra, and he paints minis, but he does this OSL, which is, if you're holding let's say you're holding a lantern right here, if a mini is holding a lantern, usually you'll paint like the light color here, and you'll paint your mini, whatever you paint your mini. With OSL, he'll kind of darken this whole thing and put the reflection, like a yellow reflection here, from holding the lantern, which is more realistic, and it's absolutely amazing if it's done right. But if you get a chance and you're on, say, TikTok or one of these others, check him out. You'll be just amazed at OSL, or just look up, OSL in painting, and you'll be amazed. It's something I'm wanting to get into. I haven't quite found the time yet to get into. So last week we did that piece on this. We did that piece on this piece. What a piece. Oh, good heavens. Since I got the one hood off, I can try to show you guys how just lovely this. See how that is? How see? The thing doesn't fit worth a pile of sour owl crap. I mean, this thing is horrible. Yeah, and it would cost them a fortune to retool, and really the only people interested in an old Mustang 2 are old farts like me, who remember them. I mean, younger generations. Um, yeah, check him out, Chris. I think you'll like that OSL stuff. And next time I see you, I can show you some pictures that'll just blow your mind on it. But really, any generation younger than me, it isn't even going to remember what a Mustang 2 was because they were so forgettable in the 70s. So it's honestly not really worth the company's time to retool them. No, that's too bad. So you get the same crappy old thing. Hey, Chris, good to see you. How are things down under? Hopefully, you guys are going into fall now, and hopefully you're doing well. I hope the weather's well there as well. It does, Mark. That hood, wherever I threw it, I put it here somewhere. Yeah, I didn't like this scoop, and I realize it's supposed to be a pro stock. And Chris, I almost had one too. It was, one of these. It was at a used car dealership, and I tried to sit in it. And this was back when I was half the man I am now. And I still couldn't fit very well. It was no. No, just no. I mean, the only bright spot in the whole dang car was that it had a 302. A smog emission and, detuned and all that 302, but it was still a 302. And it still could be built pretty well. So, but last week we looked at this and how I got it to this point here. One thing you will notice, I used a lot of Solvaset, and I did get it to settle in there pretty well. So here's what I was thinking for tomorrow. I'm having some computer issues. My editing program is not working properly. Which, one more thing to go wrong at a time when I really don't need anything to go wrong. So I'm probably, yeah, you too, Chris, you'd have the same problem. I'm thinking that probably I'm going to do a live tomorrow morning. Why not? And I think what we'll do is we'll look at how some strategies to fix these decal issues. So, I mean, this is supposed to be all the way up to the window ledge, and it's not. But you see, at least I got it lined up straight. But then there's your corners. See these corners? How it just doesn't meet side to top. So look at this pathetic back here. Doesn't even go to the end of the trunk lid. Is that the way that was supposed to be? Okay, maybe. But then don't you think that the yellow should have been continued up here? I do. So here's what we're going to do. I think tomorrow we're going to attempt a 9 a.m. Mountain Time live, and we're going to look at a couple of different strategies to fix this and make it look right, because you can build it like this and it's fine. But it's going to bother me. So I'm going to need to fix that problem. Now, with the use of the Solvaset, I did get around the gas cap there, I did get a little wrinkling. So I need to fix that correctly. Otherwise, I mean, the decals, they are what they are. So anyway, tomorrow, 9 a.m., let's plan on trying to do a live feed where I discuss and start working on how to fix this. Okay. Once I get done with the body here in a few weeks, I think I'm going to try to open up the grills on the grill. Open up the grill. Pete's Model Car Customs. Pete is a master at opening up grills, and I haven't tried it yet. This would be a good candidate to try that on, I think. So the beauty is I have a second kit. I did buy 2 of these, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the second one. So I have a second set of decals if we decide to cut up those decals and use them, for this. And if I were to screw up the grill, I've got another kit. So Okay, enough on that. And so you know what we're doing tomorrow, and hopefully watching the show on Monday was helpful in those of you guys that build these old car kits. Oh, what a change, building what I have been building, which fits well and looks good, and blah blah blah, and then we go to this, that's just, and I still think the body's a little tweaked on it, but maybe not. Anyway, Kit Hoarder Stash. We're going to look at another car model this week, so we will have a stash this week, and that'll be on Thursday. What has been going on in the doghouse in modeling? So this week, as you folks know, I've been caring for an elderly person for the last couple of weeks. There's been some real drama, ambulance here at night, 1 a.m. Drama, and lack of sleep drama, things like that. But it's mellowed out a bit. She's doing a lot better right now. She's well on the road to recovery, but at 80 years old, it takes time. So I do have a lot of caretaking duties that I have to do right now. So I don't get a lot of time, like big long time blocks, to come out here and actually model. So if I get maybe 15 or 20 minutes here or there every day, great. So I'm just been picking and choosing some little things. Now, I mentioned that there was a sale going on at MRS Hobbies. I think it was last week. I mentioned that they had this big estate sale. And one of the things they were doing, they were just blowing out a bunch of older things that they needed to make room for other new things. So I picked this up. It was missing a few, as I think it was missing one figure, and it was missing the cardboard pieces of terrain and the dice. I could care less. But I picked this up, and what it was already painted, pre-painted. There's 17 minis in here, something like that. Oh, 20 miniatures. There's 6 Marines, 6 Space Marines, and the rest are these Necrons. So I picked this up because it was already painted, and I thought, ooh, I got some fun stuff I can do with that. So I'm going to open up my display case here and just show you, where did I put my head Necron? Oh, he's right here. So he came, I got him already painted. Somebody had painted him up really nice, and he's a metal dude. And the glowing green color was already on there, but I added some fluorescent yellow on there. And so at night, when I turn on the black lights in here, the grandkids go crazy because the crystals light up. All of this stuff that's green lights up, and he looks really, really cool. You notice I put him on one of these bases that I did the show on a few weeks ago. And yeah, he looks really cool. So there's a bunch of those guys. And then I got these, they call them assault intercessors. And so that my son and I, which we will be playing a game this afternoon, we're going to play a game of what's called Kill Team. And it takes these 6 figures from different factions that you can use. So I upgraded my Ultramarines, which you guys have never seen. This is actually my first ones that I've done for myself. I did some for my son. So I built this guy this week. He was from a Company Heroes kit, I think it was called. But he's got a heavy machine gun that he's carrying around. So this was kind of a fun little challenge to get him put together, because I hadn't done the white helmets and ultramarine stuff before, other than for my son. So it was kind of a fun little thing. But the other thing I've been working on this week is my Templars. And this guy, I think I showed him to you a week ago, just in a brief glance. But I painted his little eye lenses in a glowing red. And got the gold on here. It's almost finished, not quite. But this is that layering technique that I've been talking about that I used for the cloak. And with layering, you're using different shades of red, adding a little bit of orange to get it lighter, because if you add white to red, you get pink. So adding some orange to get these, edges to kind of, stand out like there's actually light shining on them. So this was one that I was finishing up this week. And then the last of what I did this week was an extra. I had some extra dudes left over, like this guy right here, called an Infernus Marine. He's got a flamethrower. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. He's got a flamethrower. And I had a few of these extra. So I thought, why not paint up some other, they're called chapters. So you've got things like the Blood Angels, you've got the Ultramarines, you've got these guys called Salamanders. And Salamanders, I like that they're unique. They come from a planet, supposedly, that has got a lot of volcanic activity. And so their skin is, they're black, but they're not black. They are more of an ashen charcoal color, which is kind of interesting. And there's some of the Warhammer videos that are out that they show these salamander guys and what their interpretation of their skin is supposed to look like. So I couldn't wait to try this out. So you saw this one Infernus guy here. This is what he started out as. And this is what we wound up with. And today's announcement for the show, you'll get a better view of him. But he's painted in two different greens. Well, one green particularly, called Sick Green. And then it's highlighted with this Scorpy green. And that's it. But the face was kind of fun because I did just an overall, it's a medium gray that I have here somewhere that I can't find at the moment. Oh, it's no, it's a darker gray. It's called Sombre Gray. Okay. So I used that for the base, and then I washed over his face with something called Templar Black. And what it is, this is a contrast paint, so it's a bit watered down anyway. The base paints are a lot thicker. Ah, thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. The contrast paints are thinned a bit already, and so when you put them on, if they're used to build up layers. I just used one coat, one thin coat, and it kind of gave it all the definition. And then I came back and touched up the highlights with this sombre gray or whatever it is, and got the face results. Now for the base, remember I mentioned that one that Illuminustra guy and his OSL. So he did this base very similar to this, and if you see some of his videos, you'll notice this base immediately. And I tried to copy it the best I could so I could see where my skill level was, compared to with his. And the idea is that this lava here is putting off light, of course, onto this black earthen material. And so the edge of it, you can see this kind of a glowing red. And depending on the lighting and the angle I hold it on, you can see this level of the black right here has kind of a glowing, magenta red to it. So anyway, this was my first attempt at a base like that. And it was simple. I used a Future Floor Finish or whatever it's called this week, Pledge, whatever. We just call it Future. And I used some of that to get the gloss on here. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Chris. Thanks for the compliment. I really do appreciate it. He was pretty easy to paint. You see the little flames that I painted on his. Not all of the salamander chapters have it, but I thought this will look cool on there, on his shin guards. So that was fun. Just three colors. But oh yeah, and he has these red eyes. I mean, just Anyway, these guys are supposed to be very friendly towards regular humans, because these guys are like super athletes, enhanced, enhanced warriors. But these guys are the friendly Marines, as you'd call them. So anyway, that's what I spent my time this week on, was these little projects. I think he took start to finish on the painting with him 2 hours, and of course draw a little bit of dry time in there. I did airbrush him, um, and then the base took a couple hours to do, as well. Maybe not 2 hours, about an hour and a half on the base. So anyway, that's kind of what I did this week. I did some other work on the Mustang 2 kit, with the suspension, because we've got the interior to do, we've still got the engine to do, and the engine I wanted to put some wires on and things like that. I want to take my time and make it look really good. A good tribute to the late 70s, early 80s. I personally didn't know anybody who had one of these Mustang 2s, which is really strange, but it was a body style that I liked. And when I used to deliver phone books with my family about 10, 15, it's been more than 10, 15 plus years ago, we would go and deliver phone books door to door in places like Eugene, Oregon, St. George, Utah, a lot of other places in the West. But you get to know a neighborhood pretty intimately when you're walking around, going door to door, delivering something. And the amount of old muscle cars sitting on the side of someone's house, or under a tarp, or even out in the open, maybe. And I don't think I ever put together a show. Maybe I did. Muscle Cars of Eugene, but maybe if I haven't done it, I'll do it one of these days. And again, it'll be dated. It'll be 20 years old, but give you some idea of what it was like. It was really cool to walk around and see some of the stuff we saw. And there was a black and gold Mustang 2 that obviously had been sitting for years on the side of a house, with a for sale sign. And at the time, the price wasn't bad. But again, those kind of temptations for some people, we tend to forget that these were cars built in the 70s. They were junk. They were just American junk. We did a poor job of building cars in the 70s, and with the emissions and other crap we had to meet, it just technology hadn't got there yet. So, and sometimes the comfort level, the fit, fitting in a car, so anyway, that's basically what I've been doing, besides my son-in-law's birthday yesterday, which was great. But I had a lot of grandkids over, nice outside, playing around, having a great time. The dogs were out here frolicking, and we made ribs. Not beef ribs. These were pork ribs, and they had a lot of meat on them. A little bit of bone, lots of meat. Some of the best ribs I ever had. They were really, really good. So that was yesterday, and spent a lot of time doing that. This week, not a lot going on. Normally I would be involved with Merv Fest, and we'd be having a lot of celebrations and just fun times, and spending time with my family and friends, doing some stuff that I really enjoy. But this year, with the situation at hand, no Merv Fest. I think I'm just canceling my birthday, because it falls during the week, and I just things are not conducive to all of that this year. So we'll find some other fun things to do in May, and we'll bring you guys along. I am definitely trying to get back to Las Vegas and see a friend of mine that he lives down there. There is a model show coming up Memorial Day weekend in Las Vegas. I'd really like to get to if I could. So we're gonna see how that goes. I did, just so you guys know, I did get my my Mustang back. I had my daily driver, my 2010, old reliable, best car I have ever owned, and I've owned some pretty good ones. But to get 100,000 miles out of the brakes, and they weren't metal to metal, they were just thin. They needed to be replaced. But to get 100,000 miles out of brakes, I've never had that with a car. I've replaced the major component I replaced on it was the clutch in 100,000 miles. And of course, tires, they tend to wear out, and all of the rims, as we know, because I've told you about that, and the potholes here in Utah. Other than that, you know, it's been basic maintenance on this car, and it's been a really good one. So I did get some repairs made. There was some front end components that after 150,000 miles were in need of replacing, such as the tie rod ends. It got an alignment, and we replaced the brakes front and rear, new pads and rotors. And after a rather expensive bill, because I can do that stuff, I don't do it anymore. Just because I have done it once in my life and I can do it doesn't mean I should do it. So it's back, it's up and running, and ready for a road trip. And I'm ready for a road trip. So, well, I'm going to let you guys go. I've kept you here for a while, but thank you for joining me today. We're going to try to do a 9 a.m. Hey, be great, Mark. I would love to. Let's look at maybe trying the end of this week. Again, with my situation here right now, it's a little, you know, well, little iffy on what I do. You have a great day too, Chris, and Mark and Chris down under. Have a great day, and for the rest of you guys watching, have the rest of an enjoyable weekend, and please enjoy the end of April. Be safe this week, and try to join me tomorrow for the live, or at least if you can't join me, watch it later on, and we'll see what we come up with to fix this Mustang 2 body. So take care, guys. Bye-bye. One more sip of coffee. Oh, it's still hot too. That's good.